Some camera here because he's got a video and send it in, right?
Yeah.
So before we go ahead, Trent, tell us.
Okay. Well, thank you for allowing me to take a little bit of your time. Like Dan said, I'm here to talk to you about small groups, or as we have up here, care groups. And Pastor Dan asked me to help develop a small group program at Central to, first off, help build community with our current attendees, and also to help new attendees and fringe families to feel more welcome and connected. A fringe family would be someone that maybe comes once or twice a month, or maybe their kids come and the parents don't quite come. And what they would do is the current attendees in a small group would try to contact those families and invite them to the small group stuff, but also just invite them to regular church stuff. So they'd be their projects, I guess, for lack of a better word. The plan was to put a group together to talk about and explore the different options available for small groups here at Central, which I did. It involved me, Bianca DeQuilla, Steve Fisher, Jeff Edwards, Sherry Stratton, Pastor Deanne, and Pastor Dan. And the reason I chose them was just they were all in different places. Bianca is a teen voice to come in. Steve Fisher was kind of a young family starting out, and although Jeff has young kids, he's more of a middle-aged type of guy. And Sherry Stratton, I wouldn't say this in front of her, but she represents our little older crowd, and with some older children maybe. And then Pastor Deanne represents kids, and then Pastor Dan, who kind of started the whole thing. So what we talked about were these 4 different groups: sermon-based groups, study and prayer-based groups, age-based groups, and geographical location-based groups. And I've just got some pros and cons about them. The first was sermon-based groups. Heritage Hill, across the road here, is looking at doing some sermon-based groups, and I talked to Scott Sproutlin, the youth pastor over there, about what their plans were. And some of the pros were that everyone's on the same topic as the pastor, because it's all based off of the sermon. And that there's much more control from the leadership level of what everyone is studying, because it's all just based, like I said, off of what the pastor has done. And if it was a problem at the church, there's a low leadership level. That could be a pro or a con. The people in the group don't have to be leaders. They just have to read questions and talk about them together. You don't necessarily have to have a big leader. Some of the cons with that group would be, like I said, low leadership. If you have good leaders, you want to develop them and use them. That you can only participate, or it'd be harder to participate if you didn't hear the sermon. You can only participate if you did hear the sermon. And then also, that for some it would just be an extension of Sunday morning and there's nothing new being learned. It's just rehashing something that maybe some people don't need to rehash. The second is study and prayer-based groups, and our group looked at Christ Community Church here in Omaha, which is a lot bigger than our church, but the focus of a study and prayer-based group would be to have some sort of study, a book study, a Bible study, and then also come together and pray together, talk about their prayer requests, what's going on in their lives, more of a community type of thing. And so we looked at Christ Community for those. They actually call theirs journey groups. And some of the pros of that are that it's a more caring environment where people can come with their concerns and their needs and have prayer. And then it's a more welcoming group, especially when you're trying to bring new people in, to welcome them into the group. How can you pray for them? What's going on in their lives? That sort of thing. Some cons would be that you're getting people from different areas of their lives, that could be a pro and a con actually, different age groups. People might not be in the same place spiritually, may not be in the same place mentally, or even developmentally in the life stages. And then also that if you're in the middle of a book study, it'd be hard for someone to jump into the middle of a book study, or a Bible study, or whatever kind of study you're doing. And for the age-based groups, I think that's kind of self-explanatory. We have looked at something maybe like having a teen group, and then the young adults group, and then young parents group, the seniors group, maybe even parents with kids type of group. And so that would be an age-based group. And the pros of that would be you have people in the same areas of life going through some of the same things. they'd be able to relate to each other a little better. But some of the cons are, like if you have a parenting group, who's going to do the babysitting? You have some other things like that. You get 6 sets of parents in here, you're going to have 12 or 15 kids, and so then you have to start looking for babysitters and nursery workers and different things like that. Plus, you're not becoming multi-generational as a church. You're just kind of stuck with your little age groups, and there's no, it's not spread out. You just build in these little communities within your age group. And finally, geographical. Location-based groups would be groups based on where people live, who lives closest to Ron, or who lives closest to Tom, and you would work with people around, you'd study in a group with people around your house from the church. And some of the pros of that would be that there'd be less travel, because it'd be in your neighborhood or in your area of town. And also that you get to know it'd be a good opening for your community and your own places to, hey, we're having a small group at our house with people from our neighborhood, come get to know some people in the neighborhood. Some of the cons would be that some of the areas are limited, like Pastor Deanne. There's no one else that lives in Beavytown, Iowa, come over to her house and do something like that. And we have some other groups like that, maybe some Alcorn families. Man, I'm not sure how many we have from Alcorn, but I know we have a couple that would include Utah. And then also, just another con, not really a con, but another thing we saw with that was that location doesn't seem to be a big factor. If Omaha was any bigger, it might be a little more of a problem, but with the relocation, things we're looking at, and whether we're going to be here or somewhere else, geographical location didn't seem to be a big factor that we needed to focus on at the moment. So, some of our conclusions were that the study and prayer-based group that we looked at for Christ Community, where the groups would study a book, study a topic, study a Bible book, and then pray for each other and have some time of really getting to know each other, fits Central the best. And the purpose of these groups would be to sustain a long-term commitment to the group of people within their small group, creating a more intimate community. Long-term commitment hasn't been established totally, how long that would be. The reason we say that is because our action research group kind of thought that the way that we run Sunday school, it doesn't look well, or doesn't bode well to long-term community, where you could have new people in your Sunday school class 4 times a year every quarter, which isn't a bad thing because you're getting to know more people, but the small groups would be a place to have more of a long-term commitment with the same people and add a few people in every now and then. Each group will be charged with the purpose of reaching out to Central's fringe families. We talked about who those were. And then those who are not regular attendees, who are new to our congregation, those would be the fringe families. There will not be a set standard as to why certain people are placed with others, such as age or geographical location. As I said, we feel it's important to learn from each other across the different age groups, and then also with the geographical location, we didn't feel that played a huge role into most attendees here at Central, due to the reasons I stated. As for curriculum, the groups would start with one general curriculum, chosen by me and the leaders and Pastor Dan, and then from there, based on what the group likes to study, I know Ron, your group already does this, you talk about it, and then through leadership of the group and leadership with me and Pastor Dan, we choose where to go from there. Maybe have some options of, here's 5 or 6 or 10 options to choose from for your group. It's our hope that each group would have a leader and a leader in training. And that would be, the leader in training would study and kind of watch the leader and develop alongside of them. Therefore, when the group starts, there would be an understanding that, Lord willing, if the group grew too big, they would split, and the leader in training would then take over the second group coming off of the initial group. That's all I got. Any questions?
Did you consider affinity groups that might be focused on outreach? Just thinking within the financial university or
financial peace.
Financial peace.
We did look at that. We thought That would more fall under adult ministry type, because it'd be more of a class here at the church, rather than people just coming together and building community with each other.
Like I was thinking, maybe I should start a weight loss group.
Oh, if you want to.
Yeah, I was saying about something that would be more of an outreach group, maybe it's complementary to
Right.
something here, but.
And probably if we did something like that, and Danny, correct me if I'm wrong, we would try to work those people, if it was an outreach, they'd be more of our fringe type of people, and we try to work them into another type of small group within our community. Anything else?